Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me tell you, this week has been absolutely crazy, especially with some very significant news that really are worth talking about, and I will be highlighting them this week. But before we go ahead and get things started, I just want to have a little moment to talk about a very tragic event that just happened very recently, and just have like a little quick moment, at least to have a bit of a call for action on this that must be highlighted and definitely is worth talking about. Unfortunately, as you guys probably know, in New Zealand there was a terrorist attack where there was this white nationalist who entered in a mosque and has unfortunately killed several people. Like, I think the number is like almost 50, I think around 49 or something, but there were a lot of deaths and there were several injured. I think there were a few killers, but I'm not 100% sure. But what we know so far is that this tragic event actually did happen. And I do understand that it is definitely a time of fear. It definitely is a time to be worried. And especially, this was an event that really did unleash a whole bunch of strong emotions. And this is something that can really be easy to be frustrated about. And I was one of them as well, where some strong emotions were really cleared out, and even on that day, I just felt completely emotionally drained. It felt a bit too much for me even, and it's quite understandable how the situation can be quite frustrating, especially when the motives were absolutely clear. That this was called, like, this terrorist pretty much was fueled by white nationalism, he was fueled by Islamophobia, and Trump-branded hatred. Like, this is clearly a far-right terrorist that was aiming to go and kill Muslims. And I do understand that it is very frustrating, and you want to have a call to action to stop these terrorists, to stop all these Trump-supporting monsters to go out and actually kill more people in the name of, like, what we could basically call now the American equivalent of Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump. But I will say, though, that even though that it is easy to fall on that trap, I have learned from a few friends that the best thing to actually do is not to go and get angry and not to go attack, but instead to go and heal, to go and help those that we need. And if there is a call to action that we must do because of this event, is to go and help out the Muslims. They are the ones that are in danger right now, even in their own homes, even in their own moments of peace. Like, that's the point of a mosque, is to have a moment of peace, a moment of prayer. And they need our help more than ever because of how Islamophobia is becoming louder than ever, and we need to have a way to counter that. We need to go and help Muslims, to go and give them a voice, the same way that the #MeToo movement is giving a voice to women and sexual harassment victims. They need our help more than ever. And I'm sure that, of course, that Muslims, they can be strong to go and try to fight off Islamophobia, but still, they would need all the help that they can. So, honestly, the reason why I want to bring this up is a call to action to go and help out your local communities, to go and help out the Muslims in need. Because if we truly want to go and try to take down Trump-branded hatred, to take down the far right, to take down nationalism, to take down white supremacy and everything that this terrorist stands for, then we have to help them out. Because if there's one way to completely destroy hatred, it's with love. Because love is what will destroy the far right. Love is what will destroy Donald Trump. Love is what will destroy nationalism. Love is what will destroy white supremacy. So I thought that it would be best to just bring out that message and my absolute condolences to all the families and to all the people that have been affected by this horrendous tragedy. Okay, so anyways, with all that said though, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Why don't we go ahead and begin this episode? So, I would like to ask to the chat wall, are you guys all ready to begin this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Guys? Crazy Cartoon Guys. AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Sorry about that. Guys, are you ready to begin? Alright, let's see. Yes, no. The one who says no, well, that's your problem because we're going to begin this anyways. Alright, so let's go ahead and get things started. And honestly, after what we have been through, I can't believe I'm saying this, but man, am I glad to start things off by talking about a Disney live-action remake so that we could shed some light onto this. So why don't we go ahead and begin. Oops, hold on a sec. I almost forgot one thing. Just to set this up. Okay, I think now we're all set. So let's go ahead and begin by watching the official trailer of the live-action remake of Aladdin. And that was the teaser, no, not the teaser, the official trailer of the live-action remake of Aladdin. And let me tell you guys, so far, the journey for this movie in particular, it's been quite a bumpy ride, but now, finally, it is at the point where it is satisfying for Disney, because this really is the film that really did change a lot of people's minds. Because if you guys remember in the past, so far, this movie wasn't getting a whole lot of great reputation, especially with the special look, the last trailer that came out of it, when everybody was just purely freaked out by the blue Will Smith genie. And honestly, I feel like with every layer that happened, you find that there are a lot of people that are just complaining mainly about the genie, where you got the first teaser trailer that came out and people are asking, where's the genie? And then you got Entertainment Weekly that released the first set of pictures and how the people are going to look like, and people were complaining that Will Smith is not blue. And then you get the special look where now Will Smith is blue, and people were complaining that it just looked godforsaken awful. And now we got this trailer in particular where people were freaking out like, okay, the genie is not gonna always be blue, see? He's gonna be different. So it's pretty much a mix of like what we got in the Entertainment Weekly picture and a little bit of that blue genie that we got from before on that special look. So hopefully they want to try to make a way to please people with this trailer. And surprisingly enough, it actually did work, because technically it is true that the main selling point in this would be Will Smith as the genie. And this is the first time now that we do actually see Will Smith as the genie at his full potential. This is where we see him do his comedic shtick. This is who Will Smith is going to be in this movie in particular, which is the more charming and the more comedic Will Smith. And it has been getting a lot of praise. In fact, so much so that many people feel like what Will Smith did in here, it completely redeemed him. Now, for me personally, I would say that I am a little bit mixed so far. I do feel like I need to see a little bit more in order to have Will Smith sell me as the genie. Like, I'm not criticizing him or anything, I just need to see a little bit more if it really is worth it to see Will Smith as the genie, because he only pulled off just a couple of jokes and that's pretty much it. But I do agree that Will Smith definitely is one of the better elements of this trailer in particular, where you can see that, like, when he's gonna be on board, he's gonna have a lot of fun and he's gonna have a lot of funny moments. So at least on that element alone, plus the fact that what is great about Will Smith's element is that, you know, he's not Robin Williams. And I know there are a lot of people out there who would complain that, oh, Will Smith is never going to be Robin Williams. Well, he's not trying to be Robin Williams, and I think that's probably the best thing about it. Again, I think I need to see a little bit more to be fully sold on Will Smith as the genie, but this is not a bad introduction. I will be iffy with all the CGI crap, but when you do see him in live action, like, when you do see him, like, in his human form, per se, like, this is not bad. That I do like. Or, like, when you see another time when he's all dressed up, like, when he's next to Aladdin, when he is Prince Ali. Like, that is not bad. That I actually do like. The costumes really do look nice so far on the genie. So I would give props to that. Now, as for the rest to what we have seen so far, now that I feel like is a massive mixed bag. Now, the thing is that I understand that a lot of people would come out and say that, yes, this trailer is definitely better than most of the other trailers that we have already gotten in the past. This is better than the teaser trailer, and this is better than the special look. To that, I would say, well, duh, because unlike those other ones, this one shows us what this movie would be. We have barely seen anything, or we barely remember anything from the previous trailers. The teaser trailer showed us nothing, and the only thing that we remembered in the special look is just Will Smith as the horrifying CGI blue genie. And that was pretty much it. So at least we do see a whole lot more of what is going on without revealing too much. Like, it does hint us on some elements, like some of the dance numbers, and of course with some of the musical numbers on top of that. And going into the acting as well, now that is another one that is a really mixed bag. I've already mentioned about Will Smith, and I've already mentioned how he definitely is one of the better actors out there, or one of the better actors in this movie in particular. Like, he is showing a lot of charm to this. He is showing that he's going to bring his own Will Smith unique twist to it. So, I can see from this trailer that he could bring out the most memorable performances in this. As for Jasmine, now that's one that a lot of people, like, they got hearts in their eyes over. Like, hold on, where would be, I just need to double check, where would be, like, a good shot of Jasmine? Yeah, like, right over here. Like, with Jasmine, like, wow, people are just in love with, I believe that's Naomi Scott as Jasmine. Is that correct? Yeah, Naomi Scott is playing the role of Jasmine, and everybody is just freaking out about it. And I will say, absolutely, she is extremely attractive. But I cannot really talk about her acting so far in this trailer, because honestly, we've barely seen anything. We've barely seen any of her acting chops. Like, she literally only had like 2 lines in this movie, and that's, or not in this movie, I mean in this trailer in particular, and that's pretty much it. She's just on the side going, "Not this princess," and then she would just belt out, "A whole new world," and that's it. That's all that we've seen so far. So I can't really say anything about her acting. Maybe she's going to do a good job, and so far she looks fantastic in the part. So I'd say with Jasmine, it's more that we would have to wait and see. But then we have the other actors. Like, so far, I would say that in this trailer in particular, that for Aladdin, I don't really like him so far. He just seems kind of douchey. Like, he really does seem a little bit more aggressive and authoritative, and especially in this part right over here. Hold on, yeah, just gonna be, just play a little clip.
No, I'm in charge, okay? I say when it's time. Really?
Like, that's the thing, is that what we see here in Aladdin is that he just seems a little bit more aggressive with his approach. Instead, like, in the original animated film, Aladdin is more like the thief with a heart of gold, and we don't really get that element. I just don't really get that sense of a heart of gold, and on top of that, it's just the acting here doesn't necessarily have sold me on this. It's just that part is where I feel a little bit iffy. But then again, I will say this, Aladdin is not necessarily the worst actor in here. That credit would have to go to Jafar. Oh god, let's just have another quick listen to that.
You stumbled upon an opportunity. I can make you rich.
Okay. So yeah, I have mentioned before about this guy that I remember the internet was just freaking out how with this Jafar, this guy is just handsome as F. Like, people were just like how some people were so attracted to Jasmine, a lot of people were very attracted to the actor that is playing Jafar, which, I just want to find his name, is Marwan Kenzari. And even I had to admit, he is a gorgeous man. He is absolutely beautiful. But holy crap, the acting that he is showing so far in this trailer, it is unattractive. It is just like when I was listening to it, like the only thing I was thinking is just, oh god, are you gonna be like this throughout the whole thing? Like, are you just gonna go around and just talk like this throughout the whole movie? Yes, Aladdin, please go and bring me the lamp. I need to have its power. I need to go and turn myself into a genie with unlimited power. It's like, are you gonna be like that this whole time? Because honestly, at this point, his performance that he's delivering so far, it really does remind me of Megan Fox from the Transformers movie. Where, yes, she is a bit, like, they are very beautiful people with very beautiful bodies, but their acting skills is anything but beautiful. But yeah, it's just, honestly, you look at this and it's just like the acting is just very iffy. You don't know if this is really going to be something that's going to be worthwhile performance-wise, or if they're even going to be doing any form of justice to the original characters in the animated film. And plus the fact, this is something that is actually very interesting regarding this trailer in particular, is that I remember I have talked to some of my friends about it, and because of the tone and the acting, some people actually do get a little bit of a vibe that this would have the feeling of a Disney Channel original movie. So somewhere in the lines of High School Musical or Camp Rock or something like that. Now, I know some people might think that is one of the most insulting things that I have ever said about this movie. But, like, you can check it out right over here. Like, even at the beginning, where, like, it just really goes cheesy. Especially, like, when I talked to my friend, he mentioned to me, like, probably the most cheesiest moment was right at the opening where they have to set everything up. So, well, hold on a sec. Yeah, right over here. They have to try to set everything up so that when Aladdin first meets Jasmine, you would see all the rose petals coming down that, oh, look, Aladdin is in love. And, oh, good God. It's just way too cheesy. And I guess I do understand that feeling. So that's not necessarily an appealing idea of the fact that they're gonna make a Disney Channel original movie version of Aladdin. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is actually a prequel to The Descendants. This is more Jafar's origin story. We'll see how is it possible that Jafar had a son or something like that? I haven't seen Descendants. I don't even want to see that. Oh, God. But, yeah, that's kind of the thing with this. So, there's a lot of very mixed feelings about this, but for me, overall, when looking into this trailer, you know, honestly, I might, you know, for me, I could be in the minority on this, but there's just something about it that doesn't make me feel completely sold about this. There's just something about it that really does feel a bit iffy regarding this thing. And also, on a side note, there is also another element that, okay, this is probably something that I'm sure I'll be in the minority on this, and a lot of people have been giving credit towards the CGI that now it actually does look a bit better than what we got with Will Smith as the Blue Genie. But honestly, I don't know, I do kind of disagree. Not necessarily that it, you know, I'm not saying that it looks horrible, but it's just the CGI still kind of looks fake. There's just something about it that just feels artificial. Like, even during the times, like, when we would see a Friend Like Me, like, hold on, like, even in some of this parts, like, I don't know, like, even with the carpet, with Genie, and with Abu, it's just, I don't know. I've definitely seen a whole lot better. It's not crappy like in the live action Beauty and the Beast, but still it's not necessarily all that great CGI. And plus the fact that I still have major issues with the art direction, where it still feels like this movie is kind of an eyesore, where like you would see like right at the end, there's just too much happening at once, and especially like when it wants to try to incorporate all these action scenes, and like they want to have Aladdin do some crazy flips and all that stuff, like, you know, all these chases, all these random flips and all these shots. It's just, it feels like it's doing way too much. And with a movie like Aladdin, where its artistic style is, I'm not saying that Aladdin is a very simplistic art style, but at least in terms of the color and in terms of the visual tone, it does keep itself a bit simple, where this one just feels way too busy. And again, it's hard to really know where your eyes would go. So visually, I still have a whole bunch of problems. But I would say that overall with this, like I said before, with this trailer, I still do get a bit of that sense of emptiness and a bit of soullessness. If there's anything that's great about this trailer that is telling me, is that it's telling me stuff that it will not be. Like that this remake of Aladdin is not gonna be terrible. It's not gonna be one of the worst movies of the year. However, after watching it, I do feel like this could be in the same range as the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, where, yeah, there are going to be some fun parts, and there will be some enjoyable parts. I wouldn't be surprised if the scenes like A Whole New World and Friend Like Me, they're going to be fun, they're going to be awesome. But because of that, I feel like the best moments are just going to be the parts where this movie copied exactly like from the animated film, and whatever new thing that they would add, they're just going to be forgettable or just not well executed. And that's one thing that has me worried about this movie. I think we can all agree that technically, this remake is absolutely pointless. There's no purpose for this to exist whatsoever other than for Disney to just make money, and that's it. And the thing is with this is that, like, I know a lot of people are trying to riot and they're, like, calling out Disney to end off all these live-action remakes, but I got a feeling that with the way that this trailer is trending, with the way that audiences are reacting to it, and they're easily buying into this, that now they really want to see this movie, I do get the feeling that maybe the live-action remakes trend is not going to end anytime soon, and it does look like, now that Disney succeeded in having audiences sold to this, that this is going to become a major hit. So for that, maybe I could be wrong, but we would have to wait and see. Like, but honestly, also, one thing I would like to add is that, like, one big thing that it fails for me is that it doesn't necessarily answer the big question that as a remake, what can this movie offer that I didn't already get in the animated film? Like, why would I watch this movie when I could just watch the animated film, which is basically the exact same thing, but most likely better? It doesn't necessarily answer me all that much. I mean, yeah, sure, there's Will Smith as the genie, but is that really gonna be enough to make it its own movie, to make it brand new, to make the experience feel completely fresh, to make it something that we didn't already get in the animated film just by replacing one actor's comedic style to another? That I don't necessarily know. I think, honestly, the only thing that really did catch my eye in terms of something that is completely new, it was a quick shot that only lasted for like a second long. I don't know, let me check out if I could find it. I think it's just quickly after this. Yeah, okay, right over here. This thing! What the fridge is this? Okay, if you don't know, it's like near the end of the trailer, it's like 2 minutes in, where you see Aladdin and Abu running away from what seems to be this giant Iago. Like, you see a giant red parrot that's like crashing buildings just to try to get Aladdin and stuff like that. Now, technically, I could be wrong. It might not be Iago. This could be like in the end of the film when Jafar would become a sorcerer and maybe he decided to turn himself into a giant parrot to go and catch Aladdin. That could be the case, but from the looks of it, this could actually be Iago, that maybe Jafar just made him huge. And I remember mentioning that on social media, and a lot of people have commented that maybe what Disney is doing is that they're actually putting in what is called a rock, and that is actually a giant mythical parrot from Persian lore. At least that's what commenters have told me about it. I could be wrong about it. I might have to do a little bit more research, but yeah, basically what it seems to be happening is that Iago is now turned into a giant rock, which, let me just say, it just seems like the jokes would immediately write themselves. Like, this scene would happen, and Iago is just bursting out going, "Can you smell what the rock is cooking? I think we have to get out of here, Abu. It doesn't matter what you think." Oh my god, it's just these scenes just look, I can imagine these scenes might look absolutely insane. And if there is probably one thing that I would be interested in checking out, is to see what the fridge is this. Why is there a giant Iago in this? And why is he chasing Aladdin and Abu? It just, like, honestly, this thing is, it just looks absolutely insane. Oh my god, yeah. I already see someone commenting on the chat wall, "I'm gonna destroy the enchanted tiki room. I've already conquered that. Now I'm going into Tokyo. Here's a surprise twist for ya. This is actually Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I'm going to see all the different monsters like Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra, and all those guys, and I'll just tell them, well, too bad about that, chump, 'cause we're the new owners." Oh boy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, like, honestly, for me, that's probably the one major standout thing out of all this. Like, even more than Will Smith as the genie, because this is absolutely unexpected. For me, this stands out because this is something I have never seen in the animated film. Like, nowhere did Jafar ever transform Iago into this giant bird. Like, I don't know, maybe they have done that in the animated series, but this is something new. This is something that did catch my eye because it is unique. It is offering me something that I did not already have before. So I would say for me, overall, I do have some very mixed feelings out of it. I don't think it's going to be terrible, but at the same time, I'm not expecting a whole lot. So far, I feel like there is a possibility this could be in the range of the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, where, honestly, I just feel mixed about everything. I feel mixed about the acting, I feel mixed about the visuals, or maybe more that I don't really like what I'm seeing so far. Honestly, I just don't know. Like, I can see some enjoyable moments, but I don't know if I'm entirely sold on this. So for me, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if you guys are interested in checking out this movie, it has stated that it's going to be coming out on May 24th. So put your calendars on that. Alright, so with all that said and done, let's go ahead into the chat wall. And I would like to know, what do you guys think about this trailer of Aladdin? Does it make you change your mind about the movie? Are you guys excited to check it out? Are you doubtful? Do you hate it? Let me know. What do you guys think about it? Holy crap. It looks like a whole bunch of people have a lot to say about this. Let's see. Matt, I feel like this movie will be this year's Solo, where Disney expected it to be a hit, but it ended up being a flop. The only difference is that Solo is a good movie, and this doesn't look good in my opinion. That's the thing. I don't know. I would honestly disagree with that. It does look like it could be a hit, especially with the way that this trailer had been trending this week and how people felt completely sold about it. Now they actually do feel optimistic about the movie and feel optimistic about Will Smith as the genie. So that could be one thing that I could disagree, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if this would be a flop, especially when if there's one thing that this movie really did succeed, more so than having Will Smith as the genie, is really the nostalgia factor to really sell people into revisiting the classic songs like Friend Like Me and A Whole New World. So they were really careful when crafting this trailer. Let's see. Right now, I think this trailer might be the best one out of all the Aladdin trailers that Disney released so far. Although the blue CGI of Will Smith Genie and the actor playing Jafar still kind of is underwhelming to me, but I'll wait and see if this is great or bad depending how it goes out. Yeah, alright, well, we shall see. We shall see about this. AniMat's, I'm very mixed on this trailer, but since you made me laugh so much on when I said Iago will destroy the Enchanted Tiki Room, which keep in mind that he did that before with under new management. Yeah, I know. That's kind of the direction I'm going. Let's see now. Do we got any other ones? Wait, someone mentioned the Hebrew version of the Aladdin trailer is bad. Aladdin is terrible, and the original Hebrew genie is still alive right now. They decided to replace him. What? Okay. I guess that's the Hebrew version. Okay, let's see. I agree with your sentiments about the movie feeling like a Disney Channel cheese. The acting so far comes out as very corny for me, and I do agree also that the aesthetic feels the film is superficial. I'm not too excited about it, to be honest. I need to look, actually, I just want to double check on something. I just want to try to look up what superficial means. I know, let's see, existing, fudge, okay, never mind. The chat wall is going a little too fast and I can't do enough research on it. Here, you're using big words, even too big for me. Alright, I'll go and read one more. For my thoughts on the trailer is mixed because the CG looks bad and it looks cheap. Genie is kind of better than the teaser, but still doesn't hold a candle compared to the OG film. Will this be bad? Probably not, but will it be a good remake? No. I wish we got the Black Cauldron remake instead. Well, Disney isn't necessarily thinking about making a remake of the Black Cauldron as of yet, so I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Okay, so at this point, though, it looks like a lot of people have been talking about another coincidental aspect, so I think I'm going to end this off right over here. Oh, superficial means fake. Oh, thank you. Oh, now I gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. Thank you. Alright, gotcha. Alright, so anyways, as I was saying, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next story, which very coincidentally is actually related to this. In fact, this bit of news was released on the same day as this trailer actually came out. And for those of you who are watching and are reading what's going on in the chat wall, then you may notice that a lot of people are already guessing what's going to be the next story I will talk about. And of course, it is actually going to be about our boy, Alan Tudyk. Yes, it is official. Alan Tudyk has been revealed to be the voice of Iago for the live-action remake of Aladdin. And again, like I said, this news actually broke out on the same day as the trailer that was officially released. And if you guys may know, we are familiar of the fact that Iago is actually going to be in this trailer. We have seen him several times, like in the teaser, in this trailer, and we just talked about how Aladdin is pretty much running away from a giant Iago. But it looks like right over here, they did manage to get Alan Tudyk to go ahead and be the voice of Iago. It does, now in the article that I have here in the Hollywood Reporter and many other articles that would discuss about this news, they didn't necessarily mention rather if he's going to pull out the same kind of performance as Gilbert Gottfried did in the original animated film. But what is actually very interesting to note about Alan Tudyk is that this is not necessarily going to be his first time playing in a major live-action production for Disney. Now, as you guys probably know, Alan Tudyk, recently he is known as Disney's good luck charm, where Alan Tudyk would just go go and just play whatever role they would offer him for a Disney animated feature. He's been doing this since Wreck-It Ralph, where he played King Candy, and then it would follow with Zootopia, Frozen, Moana, and even playing a whole new character in Ralph Breaks the Internet, where, oh crap, what was his name? I like that little guy, though. But yeah, and also... I forgot to throw in Big Hero 6 in the pile as well. But yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Knowsmore. Thank you very much, chat. Thank you very much. Yes, he played Knowsmore. And on top of that, back to what I was talking about, this won't be his first time. He actually did play in a major Disney movie where recently he was actually K2SO in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, where he wasn't just lending his voice, but also he did the motion capture for the movie, where I checked out the behind the scenes of that, and wow, they really did put him in an elaborate suit where it is your typical motion capture suit, but they had to put him on stilts and stuff like that to make sure that he would be the right size of K2SO. It was very fascinating to see how they actually build him up. Now, I don't think they're going to do any motion capture for Iago, but it is confirmed that he is going to be the voice. Now, this is definitely a bit of news that a lot of people felt absolutely mixed about, because on one hand, a lot of people seem to be very happy of the fact that Alan Tudyk is actually going to be the voice of Iago, because Alan Tudyk is definitely a great, versatile actor, and especially with his roles at Disney, he has proven that he can do so many different performances, and he can pull off many different great and especially comedic roles. So, if there would be anyone that would replace Gilbert Gottfried, it would definitely be Alan Tudyk, because it would be easy to imagine him playing the part of the highly sarcastic and wisecracking bird like Iago. But then, on the other hand, you do have a whole bunch of people that are very upset of the fact that they did actually replace Gilbert Gottfried in the first place. Like, you would see a whole bunch of people that are really mad, and they want to try to really make a huge petition of the fact that they want to try to have Gilbert Gottfried into this, because Gilbert Gottfried is one of the very few actors out there who would be like fully committed for life to play his Disney character. And in the case of Iago, Gilbert Gottfried has been doing everything. Like, you would hear Gilbert Gottfried in all the movies, not just the original films, but also the directed to video sequels. He also played Iago in the TV shows, not just in the Aladdin series, but also like in the House of Mouse. You would also hear him in a variety of video games, including the Kingdom Hearts games, and even like in the rides as well, especially like he was Iago in the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management. That was actually a great example. So Iago was definitely committed. Like, Gilbert Gottfried is kind of like committed to life to play Iago wherever he would go. And a lot of people would associate Gilbert Gottfried with Iago. And a lot of people really do bring up the argument that if Disney can bring on board James Earl Jones to play once again as Mufasa for the live-action remake of The Lion King, then why not get Gilbert Gottfried play as Iago? Now, I am sure that this is a casting choice that probably Disney would regret the most with the whole element with James Earl Jones, because you know that's going to bite them in the butt in the future when you're going to get a whole bunch of butthurt fanboys always pulling off that argument. It's like, well, if you can't get that guy playing this character, then why did you bring back James Earl Jones to play the Lion King? Oh man, I feel like this is going to be something we are going to be hearing a lot. Like, for example, if we would hear in the future that maybe in the Mulan remake they would bring in Mushu, and they would cast like another random big name celebrity. I heard rumors that apparently they might consider bringing in Kevin Hart to play as Mushu, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be some angry fans once again. Like, if that were the case, they would get mad and they would try to say, well, why didn't you get Eddie Murphy to play Mushu if you brought on board James Earl Jones as Mufasa? Like, that is going to be something that Disney will not hear the last of. So, basically, yeah, there is a lot of mixed reactions to this, where a lot of people are happy that it's Alan Tudyk, but a lot of people are really upset that it's not necessarily Gilbert Gottfried. However, there is one thing that I would like to say, though, regarding this casting choice, and it's not necessarily about bringing on board Alan Tudyk, but it's more about the timing of this. The fact that we are so late in the game and that it's going to be a little over 2 months that the movie is going to be coming out. And honestly, it's at that point where I just want to say, don't expect Alan Tudyk to do a whole lot with Iago. Considering that it's just recently that they decided to reveal it. In fact, like, the fact that they revealed it at the same time as the trailer's release, then I feel like maybe what they're going to do with Iago is just, they're going to treat him as an actual parrot and nothing more. Like, we're not going to hear legitimate wisecracks from Alan Tudyk. Like, Alan Tudyk is not necessarily going to be playing a different variation of Gilbert Gottfried, but rather, he's just going to be on board playing as a parrot and maybe let out a few quips, but more in the style of a parrot. So what I'm expecting is that there is a strong possibility that maybe he's just going to do parrot noises, and maybe he'll just say a few funny lines and that's it. Probably the best comparison that I can do is, like, they're going to bring on board Alan Tudyk so that he can be like Cotton's parrot in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. You might remember that parrot that would just say a few things, like, kind of like just the little punchline of that little scene in particular, like, walk the plank, abandoned ship. So that's honestly what I'm expecting a bit, is that maybe that's all Alan Tudyk is just gonna do. He's just gonna make parrot noises for Iago, and the movie is just gonna treat Iago as a parrot and nothing more. And the thing is that a lot of people might think that it's a little bit crazy when I'm talking about it. It might seem a little bit weird. Like, some people would actually say, well, are you just saying that Disney is just going to bring on board Alan Tudyk just to make bird noises? I'm just saying, guys, it's not necessarily the first time that they did that. They did bring on board Alan Tudyk literally just to make small chicken clucks for Moana. Like, do you remember his performance as Hey Hey? By the way, yes, Alan Tudyk is the voice of Hey Hey. And he doesn't necessarily say a whole bunch of lines. Like, all he did was just like, like, there's even YouTube videos of, like, literally just Alan Tudyk making small chicken noises for Moana, and that's pretty much it. So, honestly, considering how late in the game we are, for me, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like that could be the case with Iago, that Alan Tudyk is just brought on board to go like, who knows? That could actually be the case. Because if Alan Tudyk was legitimately brought on board to be like the next Gilbert Gottfried per se for Iago, then that would have been something that Disney would have heavily advertised. We would have probably seen a few quips from Iago in the trailer itself. But no, we barely got any of that. Like, even the trailers that we have seen, they have treated Iago as just a parrot and nothing more. So it could be highly possible Iago is not even going to talk in this. So honestly, that's my prediction on it. And again, I could be wrong here, but honestly, I'm not expecting a whole lot from Alan Tudyk. He's just going to be brought on board just to do animal noises, considering how late in the game that this news has been announced. But for me, I guess we'll have to go and wait and see on that. And with that said, though, I would like to go and pass this onto the chat wall, and I would like to know, what do you guys think about bringing on board Alan Tudyk to voice Iago? Do you think he's going to bring out a great performance? Do you think he will do well? Do you think they're not going to do much with Iago? Do you think he's not? Would you rather have Gilbert Gottfried back? Let me know what you guys think. All right, let me see now. Let's see. Man, is there any Disney film where Alan Tudyk doesn't have a role? Nothing against the actor, but he does make a good Knowsmore and Alistair Cray. But I think it's obvious that he ain't no Gilbert Gottfried. I'm sure he'll be better than what happened when you cross Agent J with Megamind. Agent J with Megamind. Oh my god, I never thought of that. But either way, I think it would have been best if they brought back Gilbert. After all, that would have worked out well in Christopher Robin, didn't it? That worked well in Christopher Robin, didn't it? Either way, this just makes the casting team look like a total weasel toe. I get what you mean. I don't know. Well, but again, like, I do get what you mean, but that is insinuating if they legitimately want to bring him on board to play as Iago. That's what I'm trying to say. We're not sure right now if Alan Tudyk is going to legitimately voice Iago or if he's just going to make parrot noises. Like, if the case be that, like, he's just going to do parrot noises, then maybe there wouldn't be a point to have Gilbert Gottfried on board because they're not really going to use the Iago character. Let's see now. I wonder what type of character Alan Tudyk is going to give for Iago. Will he try to do an impression of Gilbert Gottfried, do bird noises like hey hey, or give Iago a British type of voice similar to the original Iago in Othello? Fun fact, that was Iago's original type of voice before they reworked the character to look like Gilbert Gottfried. I don't know. For that, we'll have to wait and see. Oh my god, it would be weird to hear Iago with a British accent. Like, honestly, like, right now, with the way that Iago, with how we know Iago right now, like, the only thing that you can do is just Cockney. It's not like you can go Liverpool. It's not like you can go Welsh. Like, honestly, this is just pure Cockney. It's just like, oi, what are we going to do now? Look at this. Look at this. I'm bloody moulding here. How are we supposed to go and find the diamond in the rough in order to bring out the lamp? How are we supposed to do that, Jafar? Like, that's the only way that I can imagine that you can incorporate a British accent with Iago. Alright, let's see. What else do we got here? Let's see. I don't mind that they bring Alan Tudyk play Iago for the Aladdin remake. I do like his performances in some of his movies, and I sometimes follow him since Will Smith's iRobot, where he voiced and motion captured as Sunny. Oh! Well, that's a reunion that I didn't expect. I actually did watch iRobot not too long ago. Let's see. If they have him talking, doing parrot noises, then I wouldn't mind. Either way, I'm fine with this. And yeah, like, for me, like, this is a casting choice I don't mind either. Alan Tudyk is a great performer. He has proven that he definitely has some great acting chops, and especially great voice acting chops, because it's very rare to actually find a big name actor that can have a major versatile voice and would actually have a large voice acting career where he would display a variety of different characters. The only other person that I can think of that has that capability and has that career would be Bill Hader, and that's pretty much it. Let's see. Oh my god, someone brought up Dick Van Dyke for Iago. Why Dick Van Dyke? Like, honestly, if you want to bring Dick Van Dyke, the only role that I can imagine him that he could legitimately do would be the Sultan. Like, that would actually be epic, don't you think? Have Dick Van Dyke be the Sultan? But then again, he's probably too white for the role anyways. Okay. Not anyway. Oh, someone wants... Yeah, cuz Cockney. Dick Van Dyke does not have a Cockney accent. If you're referencing to what he did in Mary Poppins, that wasn't Cockney. That was an entire accent on its own. It's not even British. It was Dick Van Dyke. That's the best way to put it. Okay, I think with all that said and done, we are pretty much good with this story here. I think we're all good with the Aladdin remake, and now it is time that we're gonna go into our next story, in which we got another trailer coming your way. But this time, however, we're gonna be distancing ourselves from Disney, and we are gonna be looking into a very unusual crossover. Well, it is very unusual at first, but then the more you think about it, maybe it does make a bit of sense. So with that said and done, guys, let's go ahead and check out the upcoming direct-to-DVD animated film of Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, wait. Oh, did it say a release date? Wait. Oh, did it say? Okay, well. Okay, not really. It just says coming soon or something like that. But yeah! This is Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I think it is safe to say that, yeah, they really went all out on this. Sorry, I just wanted to get rid of, like, the little notes and stuff like that. There we go. Okay. There. Now it looks more aesthetically pleasing. We just want to have the title put up here. But yeah. Now, I gotta say, this is actually the first time that I saw this trailer, actually. So, so the reactions on this, they are pretty much fresh. But, wow, I did not expect that they really went all out on this. I heard a little bit about it, and I thought it was just going to be Ra's al Ghul and the Shredder teaming up to fight against Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But no, they really are bringing out all the villains onto this. They're bringing out Penguin, they're bringing out Joker, they're bringing out Mr. Freeze, they're bringing out they're bringing out everyone onto this. So they really are trying to make this a massive crossover, and they really are going big with this. And I gotta say, so far, at least with the trailer, it really does look impressive, and it really does try to sell directly what it wants to be about. Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, they can be clashing against each other, but they're also going to be teaming up to fight against the bad guys, like with the Shredder and the Foot Clan and all the villains from Arkham Asylum and in Gotham City. So, you know, it really is more of a straightforward kind of trailer to promise us, like, a whole bunch of action, because, like, when you think of Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you think that there's gonna be, like, a lot of action and a lot of, like, fighting going on. So it really is direct, and it wants to really be on point, especially with bringing on board a whole bunch of characters. Now, especially with the fact that this is a direct-to-DVD movie, I'm not going to say that I'm expecting a whole lot. I'm not expecting this to be, like, a giant masterpiece, just like with what we got last year with movies like Incredibles 2 or Spider-Verse. Like, it's not going to be up to that kind of level, because with the reputation of these direct-to-DVD animated DC movies, they're not necessarily all that fantastic. They're not all that great. Like, there's a lot of good, noteworthy ones, but nothing that really would stand out. And I think, like, a lot of people's trust with them, it has really died down ever since, I guess you could say, the incident with the Killing Joke, when the anticipations were very high on that, but then when it got released, whoops, it didn't turn out to be as great as the comic. But yeah, going back into this, I know that it does seem very strange with this crossover of Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, especially with the fact that, like, you see a whole bunch of companies that you would never expect working together. Like, at the start, like, you got Warner Brothers Animation and Nickelodeon. The thing is, with Warner Brothers Animation, and especially when they would do DC shows, like, normally they would save all that crap for Cartoon Network, but now they're pretty much working with what's technically Cartoon Network's rival with Nickelodeon, and they're combining their efforts to make this. You know, it really does seem unexpected in that level, and it is kind of weird to think about this crossover. Like, you would never think about Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles together in one place. I think there was one time when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did actually appear. I think it was in the Injustice video game. You know the one, you know the fighting game with all the different DC characters? I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made a cameo as, like, special guest fighters on that. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was that instance. But yeah, you would never think about these two characters coming together. And someone did mention, yes, apparently they were the DLC of Injustice 2. Okay, so I am kind of right on that. You know, it is kind of weird, but honestly, it's the kind of thing that the more you think about it, the more you realize, yeah, you know what? It does make some sense. Like, you can actually see Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles belonging in the same world. Now, of course, like, this goes without saying that this is actually based on a comic. Like, in the comics, there have been times before when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would clash with Batman, but this is the first time, at least in animation form, where we see that major combo. But going back to what I was talking about, like, when you really do think about it, you could see how Batman can be in the TMNT world, and you could see how the TMNT can be in the Batman world. Especially with Batman, like, you think of all the weird gadgets, and especially with the chemical elements, with how it would turn ordinary people into massive supervillains, like with Mr. Freeze and with the Joker and stuff like that. And I think there is, like, one character, or wasn't there? Well, maybe I'm mistaken, but like, I know that there is a Killer Croc type character that's in the world of DC. I don't know if it's specifically in Batman, but it's very similar to Killer Croc in in Spider-Man. It's a very similar character. Maybe I'm wrong on that, and maybe I'm just mixing up my superheroes, but I feel like that is a thing in the Batman world. But back to what I was saying, considering all the crazy chemicals that have affected people, it's not necessarily surprising how many of these chemicals would create these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh wait, Killer Croc is Killer Croc is in Batman. Oh, okay. So yeah, Killer Croc is in Batman. Okay, there we go. Especially when you have, like, if Killer Croc can exist in Batman, then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are pretty much easy to comprehend. Okay, so the character in Spider-Man is the Lizard. Okay, thank you guys. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not the most intelligent when it comes to superheroes. Okay, but yeah. But you all get what I mean, right? You could see how the TMNT can be in the world of Batman. And in the case of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, you think about who Batman is. You think about who Bruce Wayne is. He is this superhero, this superhero vigilante that's also this billionaire playboy. So from there, you can easily imagine that with that type of backstory, that there would be this vigilante going around New York City trying to stop bad guys, and maybe you could say steal the style of TMNT, or like kind of like steal their fame in a way. You can see how these two worlds can actually clash together. It's weird at first, but yeah, it kind of works out. It's honestly a legitimate odd couple that you don't necessarily see them together, but when they are, it really does work. It is surprisingly a match made in heaven. But also, going back into the animated film, there is something that I would like to say about it that I really do like, and that is actually with the art style, with the art direction that they decided to go with. Because, as you could see, they're developing something that's completely new, not just for the TMNT, but also for Batman as well, where you do see a little bit of a combination of two different styles that's supposed to be blending in together. It's not necessarily TMNT that's forced to be going into the Batman style, or Batman being forced into the TMNT style, and it's not necessarily connected to any of the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shows. It's not like, this isn't like something that's like a spin-off of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not based on like the classic late 80s cartoon. It's nothing like that. It's its own original style that's almost, that the best way that I would describe it is that it would be a little bit of a mix of the animated series of Batman and the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. And the reason why I say that is mainly because, like, you look at Shredder, and he does have a bit of that style. Well, okay, actually, this Shredder here, he is a little bit more designed closer to the original late 80s TV show, because I remember the Shredder is a lot more threatening in the 2003-4 Kids series. And but the thing is that you can see a little bit of a combination of a style that really does blend well. Like, this is like, I want to have like a good shot of Batman. Yeah, like this is not a Batman that we have seen before. This is like a whole new look for Batman. And while it is a little bit more connected to how he would look in many of the direct-to-DVD animated DC movies, this is still kind of a style that it is a little bit blending with the artwork that we have gotten before with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And in the case of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it is kind of cool also that when you do look at these characters, they do actually look unique, because in many of the previous versions, all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they all look the same. Like, the only way that they can make them different from one another is just their bandanas. It's like the color of their bandanas is what distinct, that it would tell us what they would look like. But now you can see how they're completely different, like how, it's a little bit more in line with what we got with the live-action movies, or even with Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where each turtle actually does look different, where, Donatello on the side here, he's a lot more slim, he's a lot, like, his, face is a lot more tall, and you got, Raphael over here that's, like, he's a lot more buff, he's a lot bigger, and even his jaw is like much bigger than any of the rest. So it is kind of cool that they are pulling off something new with the designs of everyone, but at the same time keeping a bit of familiarity, especially with some of the villains. Like you see like this maniacal Harley Quinn, a little bit similar to the animated series of Batman. There's also another one like right here with the Joker. It's a little bit familiar, a little bit similar to what we got with the Mark Hamill Joker, but a bit new. Like, in fact, this Joker kind of reminds me a little bit of the style that what we got from the video games, from some of the recent games like the Telltale Batman games. It's a little bit in line with that. In fact, I have heard that, maybe I'm wrong on this, but this is probably, I think this is one of the first times ever where Batman and the Joker actually has the same voice. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's just something that I have heard. But it is actually pretty interesting, and I mean, like, it wouldn't be surprising, and eventually it was bound to happen that there would be a Batman production where Batman and the Joker would actually be the same guy, so why not, you know? But yeah, overall, I would say that with this whole thing of Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it does look like a very fascinating trailer. And honestly, just on the concept alone on this, they really did sell on the idea that basically you're gonna have Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kick butt, even if it would means kick each other's butts. So that's honestly the big thing with this, and it does look pretty cool. There's no specific release date on that yet. It mentioned that so far it's going to be released sometime this year, but keep your eyes out for Batman versus TMNT. Excuse me, that didn't come out right. Keep your eyes out for Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, and someone mentioned that, yes, it is Troy Baker voicing Batman and Joker. Oh, so I was right, actually. I'm kind of surprised. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got right over here, and I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you all think of Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is it something that you guys would be interested into? Are you guys not interested? Do you think this is a good crossover? Let me know what you guys all think on that. Alright, let me see. Let's see now. Do we got some interesting ones? This crossover looks interesting. This crossover sounds like some fan fiction. I never thought WB and Nick would join forces. Also, this film is supposed to be TMNT's first PG-13 animated film and first PG-13 Nickelodeon animated film. Also, Teen Titans Go did a crossover with the TMNT in an episode of the show first. Oh, did they? I actually didn't know about that. Yeah. Oh boy. So this is the first PG-13 Nickelodeon animated film. Did anybody tell him about the about the Loud House movie being rated R? Nah, I'm just kidding. Oh, good God. What the fridge would a R-rated Loud House movie would look like? Who the fridge knows? But yeah, no, it is definitely interesting. And yeah, you could sense a little bit that it does have that PG-13 vibe. In fact, I think like the only big hint is like this part where Raphael confronts he would confront the penguin, like this little part.
Look like a friggin' bat to you?
So yeah, that's where it could tell you, yeah, I think it is going to be PG-13, and maybe there's going to be a little bit of swearing, or who knows, like, maybe this could be R-rated in the same way that The Killing Joke is rated R. I mean, let's be honest, that was a full-on PG-13 film. Let's be real. Alright, let's see, what else do we got right over here? It looks like the kid in me has arrived to see this. Looks like a lot of fun because I love both franchises and it's going to be amazing in my opinion. Well, then this movie is going to be for you because I could definitely imagine that there are going to be a lot of people, especially those like, especially with Andre the Black Nerd, that this is like kind of a dream come true where you see an animated film with Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's see, what else do we got? Overall, I'm excited for this because the hand-drawn animation looks really impressive. I hope to God this gets a UK release because most of the DC animated movies have recently not been released here, which is really unfair. Completely off topic, but which movie do you really want to get but in a different region of yours? Honestly, I don't really know. Okay, anyways, who else do we got? I am in shock that Warner Brothers and Nickelodeon are working together to make this direct-to-DVD. I never heard about it, and this is also my first time watching the trailer, and I'm shocked by this. I'm definitely going to watch this, even though I'm not a TMNT fan, more of a DC character like Batman. Kind of shocking if you ask me. If it comes out, I'm gonna get this on Blu-ray. So this could be an interesting one, and especially with this strange crossover, I do have a feeling that this could probably be one of the more noteworthy direct-to-DVD DC animated films, especially with the factor that it's Batman working with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, you got two franchises colliding together, and I mean, yeah, sure, I mean, that is kind of the usual thing that DC is doing, but that, like, yeah, it's all the superheroes coming together, but that's just DC in the DC world. This is DC with a whole different property entirely that belongs to a different thing. This is Warner Media meets Viacom. You know, it's almost like, it's almost in the veins of like Disney and Sony working together for a Spider-Man movie, which is what they're doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man films. It's kind of strange, but you would never expect like two different giant companies colliding together for this one project, especially for a direct-to-DVD animated film. Okay, so I think we're pretty much all good with this trailer in particular. We've had our fun with Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but now it is time that we will jump onto our next story. And with this one, we actually got a documentary. Yes, it does seem like more and more we're going to have documentaries that are into the subject of animation. In fact, I do believe that last week I actually discussed about the documentary about Will Vinton, Welcome to My Daydream. If it's not last week, then it's one of the previous episodes, not far from right over here. But with this one in particular, it actually goes into just one animated film in particular, but one that is actually quite fascinating to look into. And what I am talking about is actually Loving Vincent. This is the documentary called The Impossible Dream. And if you guys want to know what this documentary is about, let me go ahead and read this to you in my source here through Animation Magazine as it states that the documentary titled Loving Vincent, The Impossible Dream, takes the audiences through the origin story of the film's concept, each step of the production process, and ultimately how the team innovated a new way of creating animation and storytelling. We sell mixed footage and interviews from production with post-Academy Award interviews, providing a balance between narration and more handheld guerrilla filmmaking through the chaos that came with creating Loving Vincent. And if you guys don't necessarily know what Loving Vincent is, this was actually a recent animated film. It came out in 2017, I believe, and it did actually ended up getting nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. So, at the time, it was really a noteworthy animated film that really had a lot of people talking about it, and that is mainly because of the animation style. Now, I am serious when I say this, that this is one of the most revolutionary animated films and one of the most innovative. I would even say even more innovative than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because in this movie, every frame is a work of art. And I actually mean that literally. Because the thing with Loving Vincent is that this is the first ever animated feature in history where every frame of animation that you see is actually not on pen and paper, but on oil and canvas. So that's the crazy thing about Loving Vincent, is that they had to make painting after painting in order to create this movie. And on a side note, guys, by the way, I know that we had fun watching stuff, so why don't we go ahead and watch another trailer? Yes, I actually do have a trailer that is supplied here through iTunes. I don't know if this is going to end up being completely released on iTunes, but so far, why don't we just go ahead and check out this trailer right over here to see the adventure, the 10-year adventure that is making the movie Loving Vincent. So let's check it out. Oh, is that it? Yeah, so, by the way, I also forgot to mention that, technically it is in theaters now. Not necessarily in mainstream theaters, not everywhere, but it's more like one of those small limited time things. But that's the big thing about this documentary, is that it fully chronicles the entire adventure that is making this animated feature. And, I'm not going to give you a full review of it, but I will give you my quick thoughts on the movie itself, because I have seen this movie, and I will say that, absolutely, the animation is just breathtaking. It is one of the most unique animated features that have been released in recent years, and, you could see the work and the effort that has been put onto literally each frame of it. And as they stated before, like, this literally took the crew 2 hours just to make one frame of it. Not like one scene, not like 1 second of the movie, literally just one frame. And it is astonishing to see the work that has actually been put into that. It's just absolutely amazing to watch. Like, it is a true visual spectacle. But I will say this, though. If there's one thing that Loving Vincent really is something that it should stand at the most, is that, for me, Loving Vincent is actually the perfect example that great animation doesn't make a great movie. Because the thing is, with Loving Vincent, yeah, the this is some of the greatest animation that you can ever find in recent years. It is revolutionary. It is innovative. The craftsmanship that has been put onto this animation style, it is astonishing. It is mind-blowing. It is absolutely amazing. It is literally, like, it takes the meaning of a work of art coming to life in a brand new way. Like, this is really advancing the medium of animation to a whole new level. But the script itself is just a piece of crap. Like, wow. Honestly, when it comes to looking at the movie itself, it's honestly just confusing and unpleasant. Because the thing is, every character is a douchebag, especially the main character who often gets drunk and he's looking to go and pick a fight. Like, literally, and especially the structure of the story, it just seems very formulaic in a way where this guy dressed up in yellow, he would go and meet up with someone, they would tell their story about their point of view about one moment in Vincent van Gogh's life, they'll have a flashback, and then you see the guy getting drunk, and then he meets up a bunch of guys, and then they go pick a fight. Rinse and repeat. And plus the fact that the narrative structure of Loving Vincent is honestly very confusing. You don't know when it starts, you don't know when it ends, you don't know when, like, which is where in the timeline, if they're going completely linear, or they're just picking and choosing different elements and putting it all and trying to let the audience try to solve the puzzle by themselves. It was honestly confusing. The script is just a godforsaken mess. And for me, that's kind of the big thing about this movie is that, yeah, while the animation is great, the script itself is not. And the thing is, the writing and the script is the core of the movie. And if you don't have a good script, it doesn't matter how amazing the animation is, that movie is still not going to be great. So that's honestly my quick thoughts on it. But honestly, with that said though, even though that I have said that about Loving Vincent, I am still highly curious and highly interested to see what this documentary in particular would talk about. And even though it is kind of weird and I would have to see for myself to see what more it could offer me, because the thing is, I actually do have the Blu-ray of Loving Vincent, and it does have some special features as well that would talk about stuff like the making of Loving Vincent, making the props, the interviews with many of the people who made the movie, the beginning of animation, walking through Vincent's neighborhood, and all that kind of stuff. They have some bonus features onto here that talks about the making of Loving Vincent, which the first one is literally called The Making of Loving Vincent. So I am curious to see what more they could talk about with this one in particular. Maybe it will dive deeper into this. I don't know if it mentions, if it has like a running time to know how long the movie itself would be. It only mentions that, yeah, okay, well, kind of. Alright, well, technically the thing is that it just made it as a feature-length documentary. This is literally just an hour long, only 60 minutes. So the thing is that I think this is going to be a major challenge for this documentary in particular, where it would have to take it and try to make sure that it doesn't just feel like an extended bonus feature, where it has to stand well as a documentary on its own. But we will have to wait and see on how that goes when it will be more easily accessible. Maybe, like, considering that I pulled out the trailer from iTunes, maybe soon after its theatrical run, we will see Loving Vincent on iTunes or available digitally or even physically, actually. That would actually be pretty awesome. But yeah, for me, I would be highly interested in checking out this documentary in particular to see the animation process, how they did that animation style, because if anything, sure, the script is kind of crappy, but the art style and the animation that is done to it is absolutely mesmerizing, and it's absolutely beautiful and worth studying. And who knows, maybe one day we will have more animated films in the veins of Loving Vincent, where you got people absolutely insane enough to create an animated feature purely by painting after painting after painting. So that would be interesting to look into, and I would actually be interested in this. You know, this does seem pretty fascinating to look at. So, yeah. Right now, of course, as you have seen, there are a few trailers. There are a few theaters right now that are showing limited time screenings for this, but we don't necessarily have a date on when it's going to be coming out. to the public either digitally or even on home media like Blu-ray or DVD, but for that we'll have to wait and see. And considering that it's technically out now per se, you could say that maybe sometime this year we will see a little bit more with Loving Vincent, The Impossible Dream. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall right now. I would like to ask, guys, what do you all think about this documentary here, The Impossible Dream, Loving Vincent? Do you think this is something you want to watch? And also, if you have seen Loving Vincent, let me know what your opinion is on the movie. If you loved it, or if the animation was not enough for you to be fully entranced by it. I want to know what you all think. Okay. Let's see. I saw Loving Vincent in the cinema with mixed feelings. Narrative-wise, it was very difficult to get myself engaged with, but it was mind-blowing that with its revolutionary animation. Since the aspect was easily the best part, I'm very intrigued to check out this documentary to witness all the hard and dedicated work that went into Loving Vincent. Maybe I could end up liking it more than the movie itself. I mean, it definitely is true. The thing is, that's kind of like the magic of the behind-the-scenes stuff. This is why I love bonus features on Blu-rays and DVDs and all that kind of stuff, because they show you the hard work that went into the feature, and it gives you this newfound appreciation onto the work that has been done. I mean, this is why I love looking into production histories, because it does give me a newfound appreciation to the movies that have been crafted there and the people behind it. So that is a very good note that you brought up. So it could be good for that. Okay. Let's see now. Even though I never saw the movie, I do feel like it is similar to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where both films did some innovative animation, but Spider-Verse handled better with the story and script. It seems like an okay movie to me if I see it. Yeah, that's the thing. Ironically enough, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, Sony did way better when it comes to the writing on Spider-Verse than whatever crew they got for Loving Vincent. So, like, the people who worked at Sony, they made, well, technically, like, with the writing, it is from, Rodney Rothman and Phil Lord. Like, those guys, they paid careful attention to make sure that the script is very well crafted, even though I wouldn't necessarily say it's perfect, but they made sure that they did the best they can to make it very well structured, to make the characters believable, to make them likable, to make them relatable, to make it as strong as it can be. And it really did succeed. So Sony did great on that. With Loving Vincent, they could have... if only the script was as good as the animation, I'll just say that. Okay, let's see now. Let's see. I think those who might want to make a film similar to Loving Vincent might do this with digital painting rather than traditional painting, because the traditional process took 6 years. Some people may demand production to be as fast as they can. Well, that's the thing, though, is that you're not going to see a mainstream movie do this. You're never going to see a mainstream movie do this. Like, you're never going to see either Disney or Sony or DreamWorks or Illumination do this kind of thing. I mean, like you saw in this trailer, they stated that it took 10 years to make Loving Vincent. That is like an entire lifetime for those studios. That's why it has to be independently crafted if those people want to actually make a movie similar to Loving Vincent. So, yeah, don't expect the mainstream movies do anything like that. They're gonna step away from that art style, let me tell you that. Okay. But anyways, with all that said and done, I think we are pretty much all good with Loving Vincent. And now it is time that we shall go and move on to the grand finale. And this is the final story that I will be talking about for this episode. And let me tell you guys, it was really rough this week, especially with all the things that we have been through, and especially with the tragedy with the far-right terrorist attack that just happened in New Zealand. Even on that day, I was looking for something that maybe can help lift my spirits up. Something that can help me, restore some faith in humanity. And I was wondering if there would actually be anything, but honestly, there was one. Because this news appeared And for me, I was like, okay, this will do it. Yes, folks, James Gunn is back! James Gunn is now back as the director of the third installment of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Of just the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's way too redundant to say third installment of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Yes, it has been revealed this week that Disney ultimately decided that they are bringing back James Gunn. Now, apparently, it seems like this was a decision that has already been made months ago, but only today did they actually decide, okay, they're gonna bring him back. They're gonna go and put back James Gunn onto Guardians of the Galaxy after, like, months of demand, because for those of you who don't know, this was actually one of the biggest controversies that actually happened last summer, where Disney decided to fire James Gunn after apparently there have been some past tweets that were like 8 to 10 years old that resurfaced, where you see James Gunn making some edgy jokes and making some rape and pedophilia jokes, which were definitely not cool. And from there, James Gunn, as I stated, he got fired, but this was very controversial, not necessarily because of the firing itself, but because of the intentions of bringing up these old tweets. Because the thing is, this was actually founded by a bunch of an alt-right group. This was like alt-right people that decided to dig it up and to reveal it to the public. And the thing is, with these alt-right people, they should be viewed equally. Like, every single one who tried to make James Gunn fired for this, they should all be viewed equally as the mass shooters, as the white nationalist terrorists that caused that disaster in New Zealand. The thing is that they did that not necessarily they legitimately think James Gunn is a pedophile or anything like that, but mainly because they wanted to try to find a way, just like all Trump supporters, just like with all far-right people, they want to take away his free speech, because James Gunn has been a very strong advocate against Donald Trump. Because on social media, he has been very open and pretty much stating facts about how terrible of a president Donald Trump is, and how horrible human beings all Trump supporters are. So he would state that, and the alt-right people decided, in order to take him down, they decided to get him fired. And the reason why it was a terrible decision by Disney, it was because this was a move that would enable the alt-right. It would enable far-right terrorists to think that they would actually have control. But since then, it seems that the outcome for James Gunn would be much different, because you would think after that, his career would pretty much be over. But nope, it seems like it would be the complete opposite, because not only did James Gunn handle the situation well, but also he was very demanded as a director, and actually ended up getting a new role at Warner Brothers, where now he actually ended up becoming the writer and director of the reboot for Suicide Squad. Which, by the way, some people might be wondering, okay, so what's going to be happening right now? What is Disney going to do now that they want to bring him back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but he still has priorities elsewhere? Well, the thing is, with, the thing is that with James Gunn, is that Disney is going to let him do Suicide Squad first. They're going to let him work on that project, and once he is done with that, then he is going to jump into Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Because it is true that technically, that in the case of James Gunn, there have been long debates on what are they going to do with his role. And there have been statements before that have stated that technically they were about to keep James Gunn's script that he has done for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So at the very least, he would have writing credits. But it seemed that even though there were rumors passing along that maybe they're looking for another director for this, but it even stated in this article here from Deadline that it doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't seem to actually be something that Disney was interested into doing. I'll just read you a little thing here. from Deadline, as it states, Gunn's return to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 got complicated when he signed on to write and direct the Suicide Squad sequel for Warner Brothers and DC. Marvel Studios has agreed to commence production on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after Gunn completes Suicide Squad 2. Making the whole thing easier, though, was the fact that Marvel Studios never met with or considered any other director for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, despite speculations that Thor Ragnarok helmer Taika Waititi and Vice helmer Adam McKay were in the mix. And even during that time, everyone was pretty much campaigning that there was only one director that had to be for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that is James Gunn, and that's it. Now, let me tell you guys about this right now. I have previously stated here in this episode in particular that I'm not all that intelligent when it comes to superhero movies. I'm not necessarily all that interested in superhero movies. I don't have anything against them, but it's more like it's not something that I would completely follow step by step. Even though like a whole bunch of people this year, they would be completely excited for stuff like Avengers Endgame. It's just, I wouldn't necessarily watch it yet because I haven't seen all the Marvel Cinematic movies in order to understand what would even be going on in the first place. So that's kind of the thing. It's not I don't have anything against superhero movies. It's just, I'm not the biggest follower of them. But I will say there are a bunch of superhero movies that I am interested in, that I do like watching, and even in terms of the ones from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I do enjoy. A couple of months ago, I actually did a review on the Iron Man, the first of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and that was definitely a lot of fun. And I remember there are some from time to time that I would check that are actually really cool, I remember seeing Thor in theaters back when it was new, and but I will say, my favorite series coming from the whole thing would have to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, and of course, I can't forget about Black Panther. Definitely a fantastic feature. But yeah, for me, my favorite movie series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has to be Guardians of the Galaxy. I love watching the movies. They're a lot of fun. I own the first and second one on Blu-ray. I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with me. In fact, I remember I have angered a whole bunch of people in my review of Titan AE, not just by saying that it wasn't a good film, but saying that Guardians of the Galaxy is better than Titan AE. It seems that I have upsetted a whole bunch of people by making that statement. But yeah, as you can tell, I am definitely a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, so hearing about this news that James Gunn is back, for me, it is absolutely perfect. I don't think there is any other director that they really can get if they want to try to capture the true spirit of Guardians of the Galaxy. So for me, this is news that it makes me feel completely excited all over again. But also, I would like to mention that there is something a little bit funny about the plan that the alt-right tried to do, and these far-right terrorists, what they wanted to do with James Gunn to try to destroy him and to take away his freedom of speech because he was stating facts about Donald Trump and his supporters. Because the funny thing is that they wanted to take down James Gunn. But the irony is that they really emboldened him. They made him stronger than he was before. If anything, they only proved that with James Gunn, he is a much more valuable filmmaker than anyone would expect. Because, number one thing that I would say that James Gunn is an absolute role model that he did amazingly is actually the fact that he handled the controversy beautifully. He is like a role model for this, where when these controversial tweets resurfaced, he didn't lash out at anyone. He was very humble about it, and he apologized and admitted that what he did was a massive mistake. Like, those are things that nobody should do nowadays, and that he has completely changed since then, but he still apologized that these are tweets that came from him specifically. So he did handle it very well, and this is something that other celebrities should actually follow. This is something that other celebrities should actually take note on. Like a perfect example of this would be with Kevin Hart. Because you guys remember a couple of months ago when Kevin Hart was announced that he was supposed to be the host of the Oscars, but then there were these homophobic tweets that resurfaced. But the problem is that he didn't get the job not because of those tweets, but the way that Kevin Hart handled it, where he kind of got angry and he lashed out at the situation, which resulted him to just step out of the whole situation, which honestly is probably for the best. It's kind of like what he had to do because he realized that he did mess up. Now, if he would have done like what James Gunn did and presented some humility and apologized for those tweets, then maybe like the outcome would have been better for Kevin Hart. He would have still gotten that Oscar gig. Maybe something like that would actually happen instead of him just like really messing things up and still having a bit of that reputation of being a homophobe. And that's the thing, that there are still, like, because of that controversy, there are still people who do think that Kevin Hart is a homophobe. I mean, it's the internet. What else do you expect? So that's the thing, is that from that controversy, he did handle it beautifully. And from there, like, it really shows that after he got fired, like, there were so many calls that James Gunn would be getting in order to try out new things. It's like, oh, we need you to direct this movie. We need you to direct that movie, because Hollywood still notices how James Gunn is still a highly valued filmmaker that still has a lot of fans, that still has a lot of credibility and a lot of a great reputation, that he is still highly valuable. And now the fact that he's back with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it's almost like if nothing happened except make James Gunn become a better director. It made James Gunn be more notable and be more valuable to Hollywood. The only real consequence that the far-right terrorists have done in this case would be the fact that all he did, like, all they did is just delay the production of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think it was originally supposed to be released in 2020, like in next year, but now it seems like it's got to be pushed back. Maybe it's going to be, I'm expecting at this point, maybe a 2022 release date at the, like, give or take, maybe, but yeah, that's the only real consequence that did happen. But it's kind of funny that it really did backfire on the alt-right and on these far-right terrorists. And honestly, after all that we have been through, after all the stuff that has happened, and especially after that white nationalist attack in New Zealand, this news couldn't have come at a better time, because the thing is, it really does give us hope that the far-right will be destroyed. Like I said before, that really, if there's anything that can destroy Donald Trump, all his supporters, hatred, bigotry, Islamophobia, and all that kind of stuff, it is with love. And honestly, with this news, I think it really does goes to show that it really does give hope that there will be a day soon that the words of the far right will be ignored. They will be silenced to the point that they will be useless. That big, powerful companies like Disney, they're not going to care what the far right will think. They're not going to care what the far right will say, because it's much more profitable to go and promote love instead of the bigoted hatred that the far right would keep spreading out. So one day, hopefully, they will be silenced because their words are useless. Because like everyone in the far right and everyone who supports Donald Trump and everyone who works for Donald Trump, they're all deplorables. They're all worthless. So that's kind of the beauty of all this. It's really Disney making a big statement, inadvertently, that they value love much more than Trump-fueled far-right hatred. So that's the thing, is that this is what really does give us hope, that this will be a battle that Trump and the far right will lose no matter what. The history books have been written, and it will be set in stone like that. So that's honestly the one aspect that I really am happy about. But yeah, overall though, yes, it is awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 got James Gunn back, and for me, I find that to be really awesome, and I'm gonna be excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 all over again. Alright, so with all that said and done though, let's go ahead into the chat wall, and I want to know, what do you guys think about the comeback of James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Are you guys excited for it again? Do you guys care about Guardians of the Galaxy? Let me know what you all think about this. Alright, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Hearing about James Gunn being rehired came to a complete surprise to me, but this news was so uplifting to me hold on, where are you? Oh, there you are. So uplifting to me after the devastation that just happened to my country. Now that Gunn got the justice he deserves, I'm gladly anticipating both Guardians Volume 3 and his Suicide Squad sequel. I wonder if this is the first time someone will direct both Marvel and a DC movie. I haven't done enough research for that, but I would say maybe. I would say, I think so, but I know it's not the first time that you got someone working on both a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie and a modern DC film, but in terms of a director, I would say maybe. I'll just keep it at that. Let's see. I'm glad that James Gunn is coming back to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We don't have to hear any rage from people who keep complaining about this. Also, this is off topic, but did you hear about Wonder Park overperforming at the Friday box office with no director credit during the end credits? I don't know. No, but honestly, you do bring up a very good point of the fact that it is a complete surprise, because that's the thing with Disney. We would not expect them to do it, considering that they can be a highly stubborn company. They can be very stubborn in the fact that they don't really want to admit when they are in the wrong, when it's obvious that listening to these far-right terrorists is a terrible idea. And especially, it's almost it is unanimous, actually, of the fact that Disney pulled off a bad move by listening to white nationalists and by getting rid of James Gunn. At least they did fix their errors. And I think overall this week, this is probably the best week for Disney's PR ever, if you really do think about it. Because the thing is, not only are people now excited for the Aladdin remake, but also this piece of news of bringing back James Gunn. So really, this is a thing that for this week, Disney really did live happily ever after on this one. Alright, let's see now. I'm very happy that Disney does the right thing and rehire James Gunn back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because that was a mistake Disney made last year that I'm glad about it. Now we'll wait and see if the third movie comes out in either 2021 or 2022. Also, if, like his work, you should check out Gunn's and Sony's Brightburn, when it's kind of like a Superman horror movie. It looks really good for looking at the trailer. Okay, that's interesting. I'll consider it a watch. Let's see. If another director has to look for over the series, it might end up being like the last two Batman films from the 90s. Oh, oh man, yeah, that is true. We don't want to pull off another Joel Schumacher for Guardians of the Galaxy, so let's keep it safe and let's give it to James Gunn. Alright, I think, okay, maybe one more. I'll just take one more. Knowing the fact that James Gunn has written the new Suicide Squad movie and is returning for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, how similar you think both movies will be as a result? Honestly, I think he will do his best to make them different. There will be a few similarities, especially filmmaking styles, but in the case here, I feel like he will try his best to not make Suicide Squad just a DC Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he will try to pull off something different, and he will especially pull off something that's more different than the 2016 Academy Award winner. So, I'm just saying right there. But I think with all that said and done, I think this shall perfectly conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to go and spread love and not hate, and go help out your community, especially with your local Muslim community. They will need all the help they can, especially from you guys. And also tune in next week, so hopefully we will have some more crazy stories to cover, but hopefully we won't have stories or news that won't be as crazy as this week, because I like crazy stories, but admittedly, we've had some stories that are too crazy even for me. So hopefully we will just have a good amount of crazy for next week. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!